When I began this project, I became interested in a simple question: how do you communicate an experience that is often felt deeply but difficult to explain? More specifically, I became interested in how animation might communicate the lived experience of narcissistic abuse. Many people describe narcissistic abuse through experiences such as confusion, self-doubt, loss of agency, and a gradual shift in how they relate to themselves and others. What interested me was how these experiences shape a person's perception of themselves and the world around them. This led me towards phenomenology. Phenomenology is a field of research concerned with lived experience, how we perceive and make sense of the world from a first-person perspective. As Maurice Merleau-Ponty suggests, film is not simply understood intellectually, it is perceived. This idea became an important starting point for my research. Animation felt like a particularly useful medium for exploring this question. Paul Wells argues that animation can communicate subjective realities through stylization and abstraction. Similarly, Fallenbach and Reinert suggest that audiovisual metaphors allow emotional and psychological experiences to become visible through symbolic imagery. A visual metaphor communicates ideas through images rather than direct explanation. Within animation, character design, movement, and cinematic space can all function metaphorically. These ideas helped shape the direction of the project. Much of the existing research in animation explores experiences such as memory, grief, trauma, and identity. However, there is comparatively little work investigating specific relational experiences through a phenomenological lens. My project focuses on narcissistic abuse. Research by Green and Charles describes survivors' experiences as involving manipulation, confusion, anxiety, identity erosion, and emotional distress. This led to the central question guiding the project: how can 3D animation communicate the lived experience of narcissistic abuse through metaphor, cinematography, and character performance? To investigate this question, I adopted a phenomenological and practice-based research approach. Practice-based research treats creative practice itself as a form of inquiry. According to Linda Candy, knowledge can emerge through the process of making and through the outcomes of that practice. More recent discussions of embodied inquiry suggest that creative practice can provide ways of investigating personal experience through reflection, experimentation, and making. Drawing, journaling, storyboarding, camera experiments, and animation studies became methods for developing and testing ideas throughout the project. The development of ACO became both a creative outcome and a method of inquiry. Visual metaphor became one of the primary strategies explored in the project. The victim is represented as a small puppet-like character, while the narcissistic figure appears as a much larger puppet master whose head is represented by a single oversized eye. Recent puppetry research suggests that puppets can communicate ideas of agency, control, and vulnerability through performance and visual symbolism. The contrast in scale aims to communicate an imbalance of power within the relationship. Strings function as an ongoing metaphor for control and manipulation. As the film developed, the movement of the strings also became a way of communicating emotional tension within the victim's environment. Cinematography became another important component of the inquiry. Research by Yilmaz and colleagues suggests that camera movement can influence emotional engagement and embodied perception. Embodiment refers to the idea that perception is shaped through bodily experience. In echo, framing and movement are used to explore how viewers might engage with the victim's perspective. Restricted framing, limited space, and controlled camera movement aim to communicate feelings of uncertainty, vulnerability, and restriction. Character performance forms the third component of the framework. Animation scholar Derek Hayes highlights the role of movement and performance in communicating emotional meaning. In Echo, the puppet master moves with confidence and precision, while the victim's movements become increasingly hesitant and constrained. Together, metaphor, cinematography, and performance form an interconnected framework that shapes how meaning is communicated throughout the film. Through the development of Echo, this research investigates how metaphor, cinematography, and character performance can work together to communicate aspects of narcissistic abuse through animation. The project suggests that animation offers unique possibilities for engaging with complex psychological and relational experiences through visual and embodied forms of storytelling. More broadly, the research contributes to discussions around phenomenology and practice based animation by exploring how creative practice can be used as a method of inquiry. Ultimately, ECO represents my attempt to develop a visual framework for exploring questions of perception, agency, and control through animation.